What's up, everyone? What the Flick? The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 5, Self-Help. Let's take a look at the clip and we'll see what you think.
How long will it be after you get on that terminal and do what you have to do?
Depends on a number of factors, including density of the infected around target sites worldwide.
Target sites? You talking about missiles?
That's classified.
I thought we were over that.
What if we all live?
The secrets will matter then?
They might. Anyway, the speed with which things normalize depend on a number of factors, including worldwide weather patterns, which were modeled without the assumption that cars, planes, boats, and trains wouldn't be pouring hydrocarbons into the atmosphere this long. Changed the game quite a bit when it comes to air transmissible pathogens.
Why the hair?
Because I like it.
So, I mean, we did decide it was a funny episode. And before we go, major spoilers here. Huge revelation. Well, not so huge for people who have read the comics, I guess, but huge revelations when it comes to Eugene. What do you guys think?
I love, the progress that we're making. Look, I haven't trusted him for a very long time, obviously, but I thought I trusted him more than he earned.
Yeah.
I still thought that he would have been involved in something that theoretically could do it, although I still, to this day, don't understand how even launching missiles at target areas would clear it. I mean, the problem with the zombie apocalypse is 5 years after you clear it, you still find zombies in someone's basement or underwater. That's what makes it so difficult to get rid of. I'm sad that now we don't have that overarching goal to get to. I don't know what that's going to be replaced by, but I'm not 100% surprised, I guess.
Yeah.
There was something wrong with my television for this episode. It started off with a white school bus, and then my TV went black for about 15 minutes, and then they had a fire truck. So I don't know what happened in the
Did
middle.
that really happen?
No, that scene was so dark. It was the darkest scene that we've seen in the series yet. I could hardly make out anything.
Didn't seem
I
dark
may
to me.
have seen Abraham's butt, but that's about it.
I definitely saw Abraham's butt.
That's the thing we're going to talk about.
For a minute, I thought it was hers, though.
Very well toned, but
that was pretty dark, I guess. My TV, I guess, is on a higher brightness setting.
So we've had a couple of sex scenes before. Called supposed sex scenes, but this one was clear. I was kind of taken back the fact that AMC were able to do that at that magnitude, but it led into the point we're talking about. Very funny.
Yeah.
Eugene was just very funny throughout, and it's clearly in a world that isn't a zombie apocalypse world. That's perverted. You're an absolute pervert, still perverted to the same aspect, but you're thinking to himself there's no entertainment. He says I like the female form, and he just stands there. And even when he's found out, she has a little peek as well to see what's going on, which is funny throughout.
Well, because it's also understandable. You would most of them haven't had sex in years, and they certainly want to see it. I was also surprised that they were able to show as much as they were. Apparently, the solution is you can have a naked woman, but you have to drape a gigantic ginger over them. Then you can do it. He was in good shape, by the way.
He's huge.
Good glutes.
Yeah, he's a muscle guy.
Well, I mean, that brings up, I think, his best scene of dialogue for the season, which was, I think only the strong are left at this point.
Oh, when he's talking with Glenn?
When he's talking with Glenn,
I need some ass speech.
right before that. It's been long enough that realistically, yes, only the strong are left, the strong are surviving, and then you have to put those people into two categories. The people that can help us, so we help them, or the people that want to hurt us, so we have to hurt them.
Yeah, and it is to the point where whenever we meet someone who does have a little bit of weakness to them, like with Father Gabriel, my instinct was, well, how the hell did he last this long? I mean, I don't know how long they've been doing their journey. I imagine it had to take a long time to get all the way from Texas, but when they showed the scene, which we'll eventually get to, of Eugene stumbling towards him, I just thought, oh, come on, he can't get away from those three. He wouldn't have lasted as long as he did. So I like that Abraham did sort of lay that out.
So we take a look into more of Abraham's life beforehand, and similar to what we've seen many times, he lost his family, which was tragic, of course, and then we are given this scene, this very well shot scene, it had to be said, where they keep going back to Abraham in probably the exact same situation that we've seen Abraham at the end of the episode before we go into the next one. He's down on his knees. He's thinking probably at this point, what do I do? Because his humanity was salvaged by the fact that Eugene is able to save the world, because he was going to kill himself. Abraham was going to kill himself. Yeah, Eugene comes along, as you said, stumbling away from three walkers, and he gives them hope, and he gives them some perspective, if that. But then now at the end of this episode, we're looking at him, and the guy looks like broken. Because now he's seen that there's hope, and he's seen all these people bind together to try and salvage this one aspect of it that they have to go and focus on, and that was a complete lie. Like, what's left for Abraham now? How does he cling on to something now?
Well, I mean, we see the truth of their symbiotic relationship between Abraham and Eugene.
Yeah.
Abraham had nothing left. His wife and his kids didn't trust to be protected by him.
Assuming they were actually his, it's not immediately clear. I mean, it could have been just that he linked up with them or something.
Yeah, well, you say that was a well-shot
Maybe that was
flashback.
A previous mission to protect those people. I don't know.
They really stretched that flashback over the course of way more than it deserved.
The first shot, though, of the hitting with the can, that was just brutal. Yeah. And I question their decision to leave him. Like, yeah, he has a temper, but he also protected you.
Yes.
I wouldn't have left him.
So he, assumedly lost everything because he's kneeling there on the ground with a gun in his mouth, right?
Yeah.
And then at that moment, Eugene stumbles into the scene quite comically.
Yeah.
Help me! Help me! They're getting faster.
They're getting faster. They couldn't catch up to your sorry ass.
So he's clever enough in that moment to identify a protector, and it just so happens that Abraham needs a purpose in that moment. Whether he needs a mission or someone to protect, to redeem himself, or just a distraction to get his mind off of his killed family.
And even to go back though, like as much as I did say that what's left for Abraham next, like Abraham was slowly losing it through that episode. You know what I mean? There's a scene when he goes on top of the fire truck and he starts laughing, like just out of nowhere, and he's trying to go through the field. It's this idea that he always needs to go forward. Going back is not an option, because I think for him, going back is going against what is keeping him sane, which is to try and find a solution. Even if you have to backtrack 20 yards to save yourself, he still doesn't view that as an option.
Going through that field would have been suicide. They would not have possibly gotten through. So that shows that at least Eugene, again, it's just protecting himself. That's at the end of the day all that he really cares about. I felt weird about Glenn and Maggie's role in this. I mean, they were sort of the voice of reason, I guess, and there's certainly a connection back to that other group, but they did feel unnecessary overall.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what to think about that.
We haven't seen Maggie a lot talk, especially like in the last couple of seasons. You should always be out there with her qualms and whatever she felt. But in this episode, I do agree. I felt like they were trying to give her more role. You know, I mean, trying to give her some speech and some freedom. Like when they're talking behind the truck, I didn't see it as much. But
the one thing I do want to mention though is that sort of rang a little bit false to me is the female cop. What's her name? Tara. So she has that conversation with Eugene, which overall I loved. It was one of the high points of the show.
Yes.
It gave her a little bit of character, which we've been lacking ever since the governor's sort of 2-episode arc. And so I liked that. And I liked her sort of saying, you're not just here because you can do something for us. We are friends, we'll protect each other. But he sabotaged the vehicle, almost killed all of them. Very close to killing all of them. Her just saying, don't do that again, I don't know about that. I feel like I would say something to Abraham.
He had been sabotaging the mission left and right, clandestinely, for the whole time that we've known him.
Okay.
And they had a nice moment, I think very early in the episode, where he says, somebody says, what are you thinking about? I was thinking about that preacher.
Yeah.
And basically we're led to believe he was shooken up by that, but he's sort of analyzing somebody with a secret. And him being forgiven and accepted after, confessing that secret. And so he's wondering if he can do the same. And now that he's sort of confessed something to Tara, that gives him the inspiration to
But is he really
confess everything?
Like, so very often we have to look at like what different groups of people do to survive and everything and say, would we do that? Would we do X? Would we do Y? In terms of just lying like that, I mean, he recognizes all the people who've died as a result of it. Like, he still remembers their names. That's a nice little Arya Stark moment, sort of like the list of names. Can you really blame him, though? A guy who, at least up until this episode, had no survival skills whatsoever, couldn't protect himself. I don't know that I blame him too much for being willing to lie to a complete stranger.
Yeah, the only thing that they're going to blame him for is that for the first time we've seen, they've been fighting to survive. Now they were fighting for a purpose, which was what Maggie said at that point, is that she's not only looking to try and think of what has been before and trying to salvage, like they're trying to save anything of this previous world, they're trying to build something new.
Yeah.
So for me, that in that aspect, I'd be upset. I'd be like, what have I got to hope for now? I mean, we are fighting for survival, but we're fighting towards something. And that's the only reason I think, and that's what Abraham encompasses. He's now got nothing to look forward to because he's just torn away any aspect of a future.
But even worse than tearing away any hope for the future is that there never was any hope at all. It was all imagined.
Yes,
and they've done so much. They've lost so many people. He's strained his relationship with Rosita. I mean, that's rough, obviously. I don't know. As a viewer, I just wonder, though, what is going to be? What is going to replace it? Like, we're done with Terminus, apparently.
Yeah.
We're done with that. Like, okay, so there's Beth's group, I guess. That doesn't really feel like a season-wide arc to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what replaces that. And they discarded it so quickly, the DC trip.
Yes. So I again must stress here that I stopped reading the comics after season 2, I think, because I didn't want to spoil it for myself because I love the show that much. So I'm not sure how far they have planned ahead in terms of seasons, but do you know?
I know that this episode is about halfway through the present run
not
of
mean
the
season,
comics.
sorry, in terms of full show, how many seasons more after this?
I don't know.
Do we not know? Because I'm thinking
sure they're renewed for at least a season 6.
And so I'm thinking, so season 6, the way I'm thinking about it is how do they think about coming full circle now? It's full circle for me. I didn't ever trust that Eugene, as much as I didn't read the comics, I knew as soon as they were like, Eugene, we need to go.
That's not the series finale.
Yes,
goal,
I didn't see it as being, I thought that it would at least draw up for the season. I thought that it would be maybe when they got to
going
DC,
towards DC,
they'd find out. But I'd always had my suspicions about him, and it was no surprise to me, even though I hadn't read the comics, that he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. He's very intelligent, he's a very smart liar, and he articulates his words better. And
to fool dumb people.
And he's so funny, he's just I mean, let's be honest, I'm smarter than you, though. When he says that to Abraham, which is basically just setting a fuse.
I mean, he had just given up all of his value. And he's just trying to say, hey, I know I just ruined everything, but don't forget, I am still really smart. I do have some value.
But it's also, hey, guy I've been tricking for months, I'm still way smarter than you.
Yeah, he could have worded it so much better.
And it
to the
resulted
angry, tempered redhead.
in exactly the reaction that it should have.
Exactly, yes, you should get punched
Several
for that.
punches directly into the mouth and then a face plant on the cement.
Do we think, I do want to talk about that really fast. Do we think that he still wants to get to DC? Either he just chose it randomly or he had a different reason? Is it just a friends and family or a girlfriend? He's holding out hope? Is it something that pedestrian?
He said it a little bit towards the end. I think he thinks
more secure?
I think there's more of a chance of
Why
survival.
would he think that, though?
It's the capital.
president's there.
Well, why not go there? There were
yeah.
millions more people that have turned into zombies. I would want to go there too. No, you stay in the woods where there's less zombies.
Yeah.
But I guess the question at the end, at least, is do we think that he's alive?
So this is something that, I don't know, in many, if you're watching any combat scenes or anything, the way that he fell flat, face first, and the way that they made that scene is to make the viewer think that he's basically, if not dead, definitely severely, maybe even brain damaged, because he took it straight flat faced.
Oh, God,
it was again, I must give the writers for this show so much credit. They do an amazing job of filming some of these scenes, especially when it comes to the violent scenes. And some of the times when they kill walkers, I think that's a pretty average job, because you see the knife, it looks very animated in a way. But
they did the one with the 3 different groups in one shot that was good.
Yeah. So, but when they'd done that, when it was just that shield, the fight scene between both, I was very taken back. I was like, whoa, he might be dead. So they've done a great job of making me think that. I don't know.
I mean, so much of this episode was for comedic effect.
Yeah.
I think we just needed to see him get punched in the face a bunch of times and then take a comical fall to the ground.
That was comical to you?
Oh yeah.
I heard
stiff
his
as a board,
skull
straight down.
Oh,
I was
that
laughing.
looked. That was
hard.
hard. I think the comical violence was the heads being blown off zombies that was pretty funny. I like that.
I can see us as an audience reconciling with, okay, this group has no purpose anymore, they need to figure that out. I don't think we can reconcile with, okay, one of our heroes just killed another with his fists, and now we're gonna continue treating him as one of our protagonists.
Maybe he becomes the new villain. I don't know.
Maybe.
We just saw back, not Carl, Rick and all them showed how brutal people can become. Maybe Abraham needs a bit of that.
Speaking of Abraham, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, I guess Eugene could die in that moment, and then we won't have to deal with his character lying anymore. The group has to go on without him. I want to bring up, though, how much longer do you think Abraham has? When we met him, he was suicidal, and he had one goal, and now that goal has been stripped away and more.
Maybe a new goal will present itself.
Yeah,
Or is he back to looking for a gun to put in his mouth kind of thing?
Well, they've got guns. If he wants to kill himself, he can do it really quickly. But he has Rosita now. He has another group to protect. At one point, that was enough with his family. Maybe he can shift back to that as his focus.
What do you think about...
Maybe Rosita will be pregnant tomorrow.
Well, it sets up for an intriguing storyline. It definitely does. We do need to think about now, towards the end of the episode, and now the preview of next week, Daryl and Carol, we're going to be introduced to them, so we're going to be really interested to see what that is. If you think you've got any specific comments about this episode, make sure to leave them in the section below. Do you think Abraham's going to completely go off the edge, or whether Eugene is actually going to come clean and find out that his career as a science teacher, I think it was, it's stated in the comics that maybe he does have a solution. So make sure to stay tuned with us next week.